Hey guys, coming to you live from somewhere.
It's kind of a sad day.
Oh, yeah, I know. It's the last one.
I'm just worried that.
JT and Vanita are coming back.
Oh,
Well, yeah, I'm worried about that. I don't know how many people that we talk to on the daily, pretty much, what else they're watching. And I know that I feel like some of them watch Summer House just because they're doing us a solid.
and we
They don't
love you
really
for
like
that.
it. Yeah.
Well, we're going to make new friends who watch The Valley.
I hate new friends.
There are new ships and old ships and ships that sail the sea. But the best ships are friendships, and may they forever be. That's for you, Shep.
Ahoy.
Cheers, matey.
Safe travels, Sheppy.
Circle back to our port.
To the Grenadines down in Ukawanga-Binga.
Okay, probably going to cut that part out.
I don't know where the Grenadines are. It could be anywhere.
They're in the Grenadines.
Accoutrement.
It's something
It's a
that
syrup.
Carl is ordering cases and cases
Oh, because it's non-alc.
for his Shirley Tempies.
Yeah. Well, hey guys, welcome to Showmance, the only show on the internet doing deep dives on shows with no depth. Today is our finale of the finale of Southern Charm.
Yeah.
And we love you, Southern Charm. Even when you're bad, you're good.
Yeah, season going nowhere. It still somewhere.
Still went to my heart.
Yeah, still landed here somehow.
And these have been tough times.
Yeah.
And I really needed them. And now
Yeah.
they're deserting us. And this is why people have trust issues.
I know, not to be a real Debbie Downer, but I don't know what's on the horizon with this economy. And I feel like we all need each other more than ever. So I really hope you all let us know what you're watching because we're going to watch it too.
Oh, yeah,
we're
no,
watching whatever you're watching.
We've said it before, like, hey guys, let us know what you're watching. We're not kidding. We need to know what you're watching.
Yeah.
Please, tippity tap, put your root toot and tuba and tippity tapping it in the commentos.
Yeah.
Por favore.
Yeah.
Arrivederci, signore. Nobody knows that. Maybe someone knew my way harsh tie. I can't remember their name right now, but I see you.
Yeah.
Top of the pops, guys.
Yeah.
That didn't sound confident.
Who wants to talk about these two again?
Yeah, honestly, that is what is making this so challenging. I can't believe they went into another 5 to 10 minute spiel. And the fact that she still wants to date him.
It's like, listen, maybe they did the reunion before they shot this season. Maybe they did it after Branzino, but before the Bahamas. Maybe they took a break from the Bahamas to shoot half the reunion with the phone and the other half without the phone.
Oh my God.
Continue. Sorry, I almost spit that all over myself.
Mike has been dying for someone to laugh that hard at his joke all season. You wait till this reunion part due.
That's what the finales are for, the big fireworks.
Yeah. You got to leave it all on the field.
He is. He's leaving it all on the field today.
But Vanita is a fish, trying to be a homewrecker. And maybe this
my
new
God.
girl is so horrible, like without just grasping for a storyline, Vanita doesn't give me that kind of personality.
Same.
So I'm like, maybe this girl's so horrible and was so freaking mean to Vanita that it's like, no, you,
Yeah, I
dude,
don't care.
I'm taking your man. And in that case, it's not as fucked up, but like,
But
whatever.
we get it.
Yeah, I get it. But also, I don't know, man. Just lay off this dude. It's getting gross.
Also, again, more timelines that don't make sense. At some point, they just started sounding like Charlie Brown's teacher. So please excuse the fact that like I can't put the entire story together. But something happened. She got mad. He was texting her, trying to check in on her well-being. And she needed some space. So she was kind of ghosting him, not replying, whatever. And then I guess she sent a text. And then the next day he said, long overdue. Now we're IG official, and posted a picture with him and his now girlfriend on Instagram. And that all happened in a week. Like, what? What do you do? Who, what? Who, what, when, where, why, and how? And also, I don't care, so don't answer any of them.
The best shot you have is just to come out and say this was all fake. Because there's nothing worse than what it maybe really was.
But I don't think it was fake.
No, that's the thing. At this point, it's the better option for you. Like, I would just say, like, one time we did have some drinks and we made out. And so, like, we just sort of thought, like, we'll try to build on this and see what happens. Like, I could better understand that answer. And I would make more space for it. I hate that. Make space. I would make more room for
Hold space.
Yeah.
That's what
I
you
really
hate.
hate that one. I would hold more space for that kind of scenario than I do all of the flip-flopping. Who ghosted who? They've both said that they've ghosted each other. I don't know who was the real ghost in the situation. When she says, you posted that girl on your Instagram. I just want to tell you, if someone said that about Vanita, it'd be a whole thing.
They did.
That's what I'm saying. It's the whole thing is so obnoxious. And when she's yelling and screaming at him, telling him 7 ways till Sunday, all the horrible things that he's done, this. I'm going to storm off and go through a fake door and grab my phone and shake my little dress and, hello, I'm Vanita. And then come back and yell at him and tell him how horrible he is and list off things that, like, I think we already knew all those things, or they didn't really they didn't really land anything that would generate, or that would not
Illicit.
elicit that sort of like a storming off and storming back in and whatever. I don't think we found out anything new.
Nothing.
And then it takes like 1 second for Andy to go, seems like you still want to be friends. Yeah. And you want to date. Yeah. Like, he just told us he has a girlfriend. Like, just reiterated again that he has a girlfriend. So you are a homewrecker, period, end of story. You don't care. And then, for her to say, but I won't entertain this while he's still hanging out with this girl because I know she doesn't like me. The girlfriend of the guy that you want to date doesn't like you?
I don't know if that's true.
I can't believe.
That's the only thing Vanita said all season that might be true.
Then you bring the whatever mimosa into his dressing room to cheers it out. Like,
To
have
kill
you
him?
know- this is, yeah.
That might be the stealthiest move that she's ever made.
Yeah. This is what I do appreciate about the girl group that exists within Summer House, because they don't let the other girls do this and look like a fool. Like, Madison, you know better. Don't just sit there and be like, well, she's being honest. Like, no, grab her by her cute little Barbie doll waist and say, no, he is not worth your time. Like, you deserve someone who wants you back. You are the prize. You are gorgeous and smart and have a great, work life going and all this stuff. Like, don't let her go down in a ball of flames holding a mimosa for this guy in his Tupamaca. Like, come on. Do you know what I mean, though? Like, Paige, Amanda, and Sierra would be like, no. And let me tell you why. And these girls are just like kicking her into the lion's den with JT. Am I alone on this or no?
No, God, no.
And I love these girls. I'm just saying, like,
but it
I
just
do
seems
appreciate that.
Like there's why. Like, it seems like probably Madison knows it's the only story you've got to maybe, like, you're on the cliff right now. Is will she, won't she come back? So I feel like Madison not saying anything, being a person who says everything about everything.
That's why it's so surprising.
It seems like there's got to be something behind that.
But two things. One, are Madison and Vanita friends? Are
Yeah.
They
buddies?
seem like they are now, even though they weren't for like
No,
many
they made
different
up.
times. Yeah.
And now they say they're good friends again.
She's
And
done
then-
that with everyone. She's literally been enemies or had a big dust up, whatever it's called, with everyone. And then now they're great friends again. And she talks about Olivia all the time. Olivia and I really worked on our. You don't need to work that hard on friendships. You have one or you don't. Like, they shouldn't, especially new ones.
Well, how about this? If you have a problem within a relationship and like you've healed it and whatever, sure, fine, working on it. But like, if every single one of your relationships are like that, that's where the issue lies, in my opinion.
Yeah. And like, you work on a relationship that like you've had forever and it's going through a rough spot.
Sure.
You just met this lady. Like, just don't be friends. Anyhow, what were you going to say, Bupai?
About Madison.
Oh, I was just curious if they were friends. And then the other thing isn't pertain to this show, but I would disagree with the girls on Summer House. They are constantly pushing themselves into horrible relationships.
No, that's not what I said. I said,
You said that they would never let each other make a fool of themselves.
like, when they're sitting at the reunions, right? And West has been crappy to Sierra. They're all going in on him. When Luke was crappy to Hannah and Sierra, they all went in on him. Like, I think they I'm not saying they don't stop the other girl from necessarily doing it. They're like, listen, do I think this guy is the best look for you? No, but you like him, go and do it. But even when
they defend
Paige
each other for sure. But
Yeah.
I was referring to you saying that they don't make each other look stupid. They definitely do.
let me clarify specifically with like the relationship stuff. Like when Kyle and Amanda were fighting all the time, Paige pulled Amanda aside and was like, you don't have to do this. I'll keep the engine running. You pack the bag and we can get the hell out of Dodge.
Yeah.
And I just feel like it's very interesting because in this situation, I don't know why, like you said, Madison speaks up about everything. And I think she has really good points. And I think she probably sees this clearly. And I'm just wondering why she's not like Vanita. Who cares on this little twit?
The Madisons and Craigs and Austins and Sheps of the show who have been around forever, they can't, like, everyone hated these two. There's not a single person who was like, that's not true. There are a couple people who were like, JT made the show. I hate him, but he made the show. And you can't necessarily argue with that.
Totally.
Like, they were up half of the season for sure. But most of us hated it, like didn't enjoy it, don't want to watch it again, would rather watch anybody else fight for a season than these two. Will they, won't they? It's like, don't care, not interested. Surely Madison and the rest of them have got to notice that, like, oh man, people are starting to hate the show that we've been on and bought our houses with. And why? Oh, these two? Oh, you know what I mean? Like, what was the Saturday Night Live sketch? Let's kick so-and-so out of the band and steal all his good ideas. The fourth Beatle is the Eddie Murphy SNL sketch where he was the fifth Beatle, and he has a recording where they play it backwards, and he's like, "Hey Paul, let's kick Clarence out of the band and steal all his good ideas."
Yeah, I remember that. It was on Best of Eddie Murphy Saturday Night Live.
It's so funny. But yeah, that's what I feel like. They're like, let's kick them out of the band and get our group back.
I hope so.
Listen, me too.
Can I ask you guys about Austin's relationship?
No.
Okay. Like and subscribe. See you next time. See you next season of Southern Charm. Listen, we know nothing about this girl. She's barely been on the show, but I just have a note that, like, I'm happy that he says he's happy and all that. Like, great. That's totally fine. But it's just this vibe I get from his relationship that something, not that he's settling, like she's not a great girl. I don't know anything about her to say if she's a great girl, not a great girl, whatever. But it's the cab theory that we talk about all the time. Like that, the origin of that is from Sex and the City, where it's like guys are picking up chicks and their lights aren't on. And in New York City, you can't pick someone up if your light's not on. The light on is connotating that you have an empty cab and you can put someone in the back and take them somewhere. And as soon as a guy flicks his light on, he just picks up the closest person to him. And he's like, okay, this is who I'm going to marry. And I feel like that Austin's been in therapy now for a minute. And then he met this girl, and it feels very much like, oh, this is my first experience really having my light on.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to make it happen with this chick. There's something off about this relationship to me. Anyone or no?
I don't know if it's off. Like, I think there's something, there's a vibe. I don't know what it is. I think the vibe is just, we don't know. You know, we don't know who she is. She's not wants to be on TV. So we're like, who are you? You know, like you're not one of us because you're not, you know, like in a weird sort of silly way. I think it's more that and you maybe are just leaning towards this doesn't feel right. But this was the first time with the pictures and the do you love her and that look on Craig's face. Oh my God. Fucking did that not break everyone's heart in America? When he was like, do you love her? And he's like, I do. And they cut back to Craig and he was like just so sad.
Oh, no.
This was the first time that I kind of didn't think that, or not that I had before, but I kind of got rid of the like, oh, she's a nothing burger. We never see her. And I was like, oh, maybe like.
No, I think he's trying to be very serious with her. And I think it's interesting that like what I'm pulling from is not the fact that she doesn't want to be on TV. Maybe subconsciously I am. But the fact that none of the castmates are like, oh, we've had dinner with Austin and whoever this chick's name is. She's amazing.
I think Madison did.
Right. But like Madison's just like, I like her. Like there was no like, they're so good together. She brings out the best in Craig. She's so funny. She's such a hard worker.
Well, she does live. Where does she? Doesn't she live somewhere else?
She lives a few hours away, I think. But
and
also,
then I think, sorry, just real quick.
Yeah.
I think that like, just the irony of the timing of like the season that Austin seemed pretty normal and not a total raging lunatic, alcoholic, weirdo, douchebag, getting in fights with the cast and girls and whatever. And oh, my beard, that like he just was there, like living a life. Is the same time that he had this girlfriend who maybe was like, yo, dude, I watched this shit. You're kind of an idiot. You know, she Paige DeSorbo'd him a bit and just is starting that process of him chilling out. So like he's becoming more boring, if you will.
I didn't see the interview that he did, but then, you know, I'm on the talk. So I've got my like 2 or 3 people that are my go-tos where they tell you everything, all the good stuff. So you don't have to watch the long interviews. Yeah. And they said that Austin was talking about how he was super surprised to see himself in the edit after all said and done, because he filmed a ton more with his business and with her, and they didn't air any of it. And he's like, I had no idea that was not going to appear. I don't know why they made that decision. And then the person that was talking about it was like, they're like, I don't think there's some hidden agenda here. Like if Bravo's not airing something, probably just because it wasn't that entertaining, you know? And so that could have been it. It just makes my mind start wandering of like, you know, I'm sure they know exactly what characters people are tuning in for and like maybe clicking out of when someone's gone. Like, I don't know where Austin fits in the totem pole of who gives a crap about who, you know? Sometimes I wonder if they are putting Austin on ice for a season because he was sort of like just kind of burning people out last, like when we first started this season again, we were all in the position of just like, I can't stand Austin. Like I can't remember what Austin did last year, like what his story, like what his last annoyance was.
It was him and Taylor.
Yes.
It's him and Taylor. And then also he's visiting the summer house and banging Lindsay while Sierra's.
That was a few seasons
Yeah.
ago, but still in recent history for sure.
And then that was like right in conjunction before, after, I don't know, with Olivia. And like, so I think they might have just been like, we'd like to keep Austin around. We think he might need a minute. Like let's give people a Austin rest season, you know, because Austin is a great character to keep on. Maybe they just needed him to grow up a little bit. Again, these are all just my like random speculations. I don't know.
I have a feeling that it's like you're either a good focus or you're pulling focus in not a good way. And I think that he was probably pulling focus in not a good or interesting way, because his Trop Hop stuff has nothing to do with anyone else on the cast. He's not doing it with another cast member. It's him in his own little work world. And it's not that important that he's like, it's not that big of a brand that they want to focus on it. Like a Jenna Lyons thing in Real Housewives of New York. It doesn't matter if she's just doing something for Jenna Lyons because she's Jenna fucking Lyons.
Yeah.
I think that's even her tagline. I'm Jenna fucking Lyons. So there's that. I don't know if he did, like, if you're going to do something that you want the entire cast to be a part of and you want it to air, it's got to be like a Trop Hop party. We're launching a new varietal flavor or whatever. And I don't,
who knows what it was that he was doing. Like,
even if it, like, you got to imagine if it was the most it could be was one party and then like a bunch of things that were just himself.
Yeah.
And then with the girlfriend, if he said I filmed a bunch of stuff that was me and my girlfriend,
like it wasn't a bunch of, but like she met the sister and her, and
but again,
they go out to dinner. But we had nothing for the first 6 episodes. So it just seems like you could have plopped him in somewhere.
But this is my point. That's all Austin and Austin's world. Austin's sister's not on the show. Nobody cares about, with all due respect, nobody cares about Austin's sister.
Yeah.
So he's not filming a couple scene with Madison's husband, him and his girlfriend.
That's true. Yeah,
so I think because he tried to keep it so siphoned off into his little world, I think that's probably, and it's not that interesting on his own, that's why it got all cut on the cutting room floor.
You know, something else that he said, and I'm not saying that this makes this storyline fake, but I just thought it was interesting because it could just be like a total coincidence. But he said that like it was weird for him that like the show never covered Pillows and Beer, the podcast. Like him and Craig's podcast is just like after like 2020 or whatever, like it just kind of never really circled back to it. And that they literally said, I feel like we need to get into an argument about this podcast for this to get any airtime. And so I don't know. I'm not saying that their arguments this year were anything, whatever, but like he literally says, we talked about how we should get into an argument about the podcast.
Oh, he wasn't wrong. Whether that was
whether it was
on purpose
real
or not.
Yeah, he wasn't wrong. Yeah. I'm trying to think what else there was. I saw a different interview also with Shep. Did you know that Shep is writing another book? He's just turned in his first draft for another book.
Wait, what's his first book?
I don't even know. I didn't know. Maybe this is his first book. I don't know. I for some reason I felt like he's written one before.
Okay.
And
what's it about?
And I thought that it was going to be about 10 years of reality TV, whatever. No, it's about when he did ayahuasca.
Of course. Does ayahuasca once and he's healed.
He did it 4 times.
Well, you
4 nights in a row.
I was just gonna say that's how you do it.
I didn't know that.
You usually do it multiple
can't
times.
believe that. Like if I ever thought like if every time I entertain it, it goes out the window within seconds.
Yeah.
It is light years away now. 4 nights in a row of hallucinogens? No, thank you. That's crazy. And I think it's either, what is it, the first page?
Preface.
Or the title of the book, one or the other, is something that he wrote in his journal, like while he was like tripping balls. And it was, why do you always have to lick the jar? But I guess that was the theme of himself that he found on his trip. I want to be like, we could have told you that for free.
Yeah, free 99 right here. Didn't even need to get
you
on
wouldn't
a
have to shit yourself in front of a bunch of people. He's like, everybody there is like having all these realizations. And the girl that was interviewing him, I think it was the Not Skinny But Not Fat podcast. And she goes, what was your realization? He goes, I had a great life, great family, great parents, like pretty blessed. Like he didn't really like.
This is the thing with, and I'm very well versed in stuff like this. This is right in my spiritual hippie wheelhouse. Ayahuasca is great if you're going to do it the quote unquote right way. And people can hate me for saying this or whatever, but like there is no magic pill in life.
Yeah.
So for Shep to think he can just you could go to the world's best shaman in Peru or wherever he did it, Costa Rica,
grenadines maybe.
In the grenadines with grenadine and have this amazing experience. There is still an upkeep. It's like you could have the most deep cleaning, badass cleaning crew come into your house and everything is pristine and organized and everything is color coded and you know where it's all organized. But if you don't keep that system up, it doesn't matter. So like Shep, I don't think, I could be wrong, like are you still practicing mindfulness and meditation and how have you implemented what you've learned as part of your life? So to write a book on this, so self-indulgent.
Maybe you got to buy the book to find out.
I'm good, Shep. Anyway. Oh, I did love that Pat came out.
Mm-hmm.
I was very excited about that. However, I really feel like they could have used her in it was such a nothing burger.
No, she said at some point that she might apologize to JT. Like, I think the word apologize might have actually been on the table, or that JT was going to ask her if she would, or I can't believe that I
think Madison, like the apology was a Madison thing.
Yeah, but Patricia had one too with JT because she came on later and did an Instagram and said, I actually don't know anymore if he really called me that or not. And I think she said, and I will address it at the reunion or whatever. And I feel like JT was just sitting there like waiting for his shining moment. And she was just like, eh.
But what would she be apologizing for? Because she never said anything bad about him. She was just like, oh, that's like, I don't think she said, I think she was probably disappointed to learn that someone called her a bitch, if in fact he did do that, which the jury is, I think, back and said, no, he didn't.
Half of them said he did.
I mean, us as the jury.
Oh, okay. Listen, here's what I can equate to the bitch thing. If we've learned anything about this kid, he is Craig Jr., but just a shittier version that no one gives a shit about.
Yeah.
The same way that people can be convinced one way or the other that Craig bought the ring or not is an instinctual thing. It's like how you feel about someone, you recognize a pattern, you see like, I've decided that he didn't buy that ring. Who fucking knows? That's how I feel about JT. It's the same, like, I feel like I know that kid and he did that. I also feel like when he said, they bring up him being a fuckboy and he so casually goes, well, I didn't fuck her, so oh, like I clutched my pearls when he's like, I did not expect that to fly out of his mouth, and it did so like nothing. So I have no qualms. This kid talks however he talks. I'm sure Patricia, she was a bitch to him. Patricia's hurt. She said on Watch What Happens Live, I didn't really care that he called me that because I kind of am a bitch. Like, so she doesn't give a shit. If she acts how she acts. She doesn't invite people to things she did. Like, I'm sure that there has been a lot of frustration from cast members who are like constantly trying to kiss Miss Patricia's ass, as they all should. But, you know, I'm sure it gets frustrating at moments. If he called her that, it wouldn't be... He's not a saint or not one for doing it or not doing it. It is just...
Well, she did say at the reunion, she goes, I don't think you said it. Like, she did acknowledge it, which I thought was not nothing.
She said that at the reunion?
Oh, maybe it was just the screenshot of the post. Maybe it was. Maybe she didn't actually say it. I don't know why I thought she did say it.
No, that's what I mean. They never addressed it. Like, she was just there to like go, oh, look at my house. You guys have done such a lovely job. And then they just carted her off.
Fake antiques.
And I thought she was going to bring that kid Ryan. And we didn't get to say sayonara to him either.
Oh, that's fine by me. But also, her son is one of the producers on the show. Yeah. I just feel like if anyone's going to have a little extra intel on a moment like this, it would have been her. And I just, listen,
How would there be though? If he just said it to, like, this is not all I'm saying is that this is our instinct telling us he's the kind of guy that would say that or he isn't. Well, Craig's the kind of guy that would buy the ring or he isn't.
There's
you know?
2 references in this episode of Secrets. One was Miss Patricia getting ready when she said, oh, I know all of their secrets. And in the end, when Shep did his toast and said, we know things about each other that only a small group of people knows. So I don't know if that means he did call her a bitch and it doesn't it works better for Craig to be a liar because we've already painted this story as producers or what. But like, those are 2 weird ass references to say twice, you know, to open the show and end the show with, we know your secrets.
Yeah. Because if you vindicate Craig, then Craig is off scot-free from everything. Like like nobody would be able to call him a liar on anything anymore. They would be like, you've done your time. You were a child when you lied about the other stuff. This keeps the party going, and I believe that Craig needs that. Like, not Craig personally. Craig would probably love for this to go away, but I think the show needs for Craig. This is his thing. Austin's a gossip. Shep's a whatever like everyone's just kind of got their things, and like, let's keep that little thing here.
And maybe because it's true. Because Craig's already trying to get rid of that lie. Because there's no evidence of it. So he's like, let's just take it out, JT. Yeah. And we'll take it out. And he's like, take what out? There's nothing to take out. Like, as annoying as JT is to me, there are moments where I'm like, he's right.
That's what I was going to say. Dude. I am not a fan of his, but I don't think he called her. And I don't even give a shit.
Like, this, I got to get to the crux of this. Like, why do you think that bitch is not a word that is like people don't like. No, I understand that it's an old timey thing. You wouldn't call a woman.
I don't necessarily. I'm not. I agree with what. Like, I remember how in the beginning, I think either all of us or definitely the 2 of us were like, oh, I don't peg JT for using that kind of language.
Yeah.
And there was a time when I was like, I don't see it coming out of his mouth. I don't know if I believe that anymore. Like, and I maybe would believe that he said it off camera. And I'm with you. Like, okay, cool. I don't care. Mr. Old school fucking.
I think I called her a bitch before when she didn't invite Craig to that party. I was like, you're going out of your way to be horrible to him.
So she said it was a mistake just for posterity's sake.
Okay.
Just reporting the facts here. That's what she said. I'm a journalist, Natalie.
Okay. There's just no putting this past a guy like JT. He's not any better than anyone else on that.
No, I think JT sucks. And I think he probably could have talked around the fact that he thought she was a B word.
You don't think JT's capable of calling a woman a bitch?
No, I am not completely disregarding the fact that he could call a woman a bitch. Now, like at this part of now that we're at the end of the season and we've seen all of it, totally. I just think for whatever reason, I think in this one instance, I don't think he used the B word. And I think he's getting off on the fact that he can get off on a technicality. Yeah. Because even Craig was like, okay, excuse me, just take that out of it. The circumstantial evidence. Yeah. Because Craig, whether he graduated from law school, went past the bar, is practicing, isn't, he still does think a lot like a lawyer.
Yeah.
And I think what he's saying is, who gives a rat's ass if you use that word or not? The circumstantial evidence is all pointing to the fact that that's what you meant. And you didn't have to use a racist term. You were acting like a racist. That's akin to what he was saying. Like you didn't have, misogynist.
Yeah.
Like you didn't have to use a misogynistic term towards a woman. You were acting like a misogynist towards her or whatever.
Yeah.
Or
No,
being
I can get
disrespectful.
down with all of that.
And the only reason I say any of that is because they were around the cast and the crew when it happened. So even if he wasn't mic'd, you have to think that there's got to be some PA or boom guy or whatever that just like they're demiking and someone else could have corroborated the story. The fact that nobody else could say that he used that one word. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, no, I get that no one else is corroborating it, but I also don't think that, I mean, they're all like, they clearly know each other, live in a small town. They could have been easily by themselves. Like just because like no kid was like standing right there hearing it, that doesn't.
I thought they said it happened when they were at the golf simulation. That's the only reason why I say that. I didn't realize that it could have happened somewhere else.
They also talk about how, like, I feel like Craig is now insinuating that it happened like at the horse race, or maybe he was just insinuating that he called her a bitch because of how she treated him at the horse race.
That's
but
what
like
I thought.
Craig has gotten wordy, like odd. Like I feel like he's mixed up his words on that specific detail. I think this whole thing is just to say that like we all started from a place of JT seems like this guy that would do this, that, and the other, and we all kind of believed it. And I just like, I hold none of those anymore. I think that he's just as horrible as any of them. And I think he's actually more so like Craig than he is the other guy. So I think he probably has some standards that he doesn't deviate from, but that's not one of them. The way that he said, well, I didn't fuck her. So I was like, but no, you talk just like any other dude does. You're no angel.
I don't think he's on the same, and I know you're not saying like on the same level as Craig, but like, I don't know how else to put it. Because Craig never would have, what happened with him and Vanita, Craig would have never done. Craig would have never done that.
Happened with him and Vanita.
Like, if Craig was dating someone, he would not say, come into my room and
that's
let
what I mean.
someone
Like no, JT's not isn't as standard.
I think Craig exaggerates. I think he takes artistic license because he's a lawyer and a storyteller or whatever the hell he always says. But I don't think he's got that thing that a lot of guys have, which is like, Craig has sex with someone because he is genuinely like feels something towards them, not just to like, oh, I'm out tonight and just check the box, or like if I don't go home with someone, I'm less than, or like just proving something to myself about what a man I am. Like, I think Mike and Craig, even though Mike always hates when we say this, like you are a lot like Craig. I think you both have the thing where it's like, I don't need to have sex with someone just because the girl's going to let me have sex with her. And I think a lot of the JTs of the world and the Sheps of the world are like, oh, you let me have sex with you? Yeah, great. Let's have sex. And Craig would be like, I'm going to go home alone because I don't actually... I don't feel anything for you. Yeah. Is that a fair thing to say between you and Craig?
I mean, yeah, but I think it's probably different reasons.
Fine, but
I think Craig's reasoning for not having sex with someone is the exact same reason that Shep and Austin do have sex with people. They both are looking to feel cool about themselves. Shep and Austin think it's cool to bang chicks. Craig thinks it's cool to not bang chicks.
Oh, see, I don't just totally disagree with that, but I think Craig actually really wants to like the girl.
No, I don't. I think that's true too, but I think Craig gets off on the fact, and I'm not saying this is a bad thing.
Totally.
Like, I'd rather have you get off on the fact that you're like faithful and not banging a ton of chicks than the other one.
Yeah.
But same. Like you're both getting off on your egos. And that you think that this thing is super cool that you do, and so you're going to keep doing it. So it's ego driven, I think. But I also agree that Craig is truly a one woman kind of dude, and he likes to be in love. And I can't remember somebody said Craig loves being in love. I agree with that. And somebody was like, "Oh, he's only had three or four partners." True, but he loves being in love with those partners. He's wanted to marry all 3 or 4 of them, so.
I have a new take on it.
Sidebar, I also think Craig is a great lover. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Don't have any thoughts on that.
As are you.
Yeah, Mike, you're a great lover.
Award-winning.
A sexual revolution, if I recall correctly. Did you guys know that Miss Pat on the 16th of April is turning 84?
I did not.
I think I'm sorry. I think she is pretty spry for 84 and I think she looks good.
Yeah. What did she do? Like, I've never even looked her up to know about her life. Like, I know she was an artist. I know she lived or like hung with artists and lived in the city. Like, what was her deal?
I wouldn't say she was an art dealer. I think she was a very wealthy woman who would like buy and sell art.
Her husband he died and she took over his collection. Her husband, I think the
Second.
Schultz one or whatever, her second or third husband was like one of the biggest art collectors, dealers. I don't know about dealer, but collectors.
And I think she was doing it though a little bit when he was alive as
That's
well.
probably where they met. But
when she says like, "Oh, I've always worked," I think her definition of work and maybe our definition of work is a little bit different. Like, do I think Miss Pat ever had like this 9 to 5 that she was going to and had to work her way up the corporate ladder or be an entrepreneur and work her way up from knowing no one and not having a husband financially back her, any of that stuff? I don't think that was the case.
Yeah.
I would be happy to be proved wrong. This is just a guess on my end. But I do think she was in a world where there were a lot of heavy hitters and a lot of money flying around. And I think she was incredibly smart and figured out ways to be like, oh, I can connect this person to that person and let's sell this piece of art here. And so I think she worked in that sense, but I don't think it was in the traditional way that everybody watching and everyone in this room know. That's just my personal thought.
I was really only asking that because of her when she said, I got a lot of heat for talking about Paige. A lot of people came after me and said, you just don't know what it's like to be like a person who works and is independent and whatever. And she was like, which is total horse. I don't think she said horseshit, but like more or less horseshit. And then I was just trying to think like, I don't know how different her and Paige's life actually have been. They're both on reality stars. They're both some level of influencers in their own respect. They're both like in creative arts, whatever, like both lived in Manhattan. Like I'm sure that, obviously Paige didn't marry and have a shit ton of money left to her or whatever. But like, I feel like Paige has been doing this kind of thing, getting money for probably what billions and billions of people would love to get paid for and get paid that well for a while. So I just like thought it, because when I first heard Patricia saying the things about like, I think Paige was mean to him, my reaction was the same thing that everybody else was, which was like, come on, lady. Like, you love these boys so much. You like can't even see that like there could have been something, whatever. But then I started thinking about it and I'm like, they might have more similarities in the lives, their experience than like people really give her credit for.
I don't completely disagree. I wouldn't say mean. I just think Craig and Paige have two completely different ways of communicating.
Yeah.
And so I think therein lies the problem where it can come off super mean and way harsh, Ty, and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
And not to, again, go back to Summer House, but like, I think Craig does want like a softer, more like, yes, let's do we say this all the time, like the trad wife, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with wanting any of that. Paige just is not that chick.
Yeah.
But I do think there are big differences in the work atmosphere between Paige and Pat. Paige is never, at 30 years old, Pat has already had one incredibly wealthy husband that is paying for her way. Like, Paige pays her own bills. Like no dude is paying for her rent and her, giving her alimony payments or any of that stuff. And I just think that, yes, does she get paid a lot of money, more than 90% of the planet to be doing all of this stuff? But she's hustled. She's been smart about it. And she is a single woman doing it completely on her own. And I don't think I think Miss Pat, since her last husband died or they got divorced, yes, so she's been a single woman living on her own maybe for 20 years, but with the benefit of having her husbands leave her millions and millions of dollars.
And I just want to iterate, like, I was not trying to say that like they were living the same life. I just think that people maybe don't know what Miss Patricia's life has been. I think they probably assume that she's lived in that same house and just lived in Charleston, in a small town, her whole life. Like I didn't know until just recently that she she retired in Charleston. It's not like
Yeah,
where
she used to live in New York City.
Yeah, like for many, many years, and so it was also different times. Like there were no influencers back there. Like you did marry,
but she was a socialite. She was
a
going to the Met
socialite.
Ball.
There are some things that maybe no one's giving her credit for, and I wasn't saying that Paige was mean. I don't think she's right about Paige being mean. I just meant like they might have more similarities of the way they've lived their life than people are really because I didn't know what her life was.
I looked her up a long time ago when we first started watching the show, because that's what I do. I go look up everybody. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, like, she's a socialite. She married a few times to probably some dudes with some money. And I think in that world, the difference between, and this might sound super sexist, but whatever, the difference between working and not working is you started a foundation or two, you got into the art business, you go to gallery openings, you do deals with artists, you broker deals with other people, you go to your office a few, 2 or 3 times a week, you hold galas and fundraisers, and you're working. That's work. That's fucking work. But I think that's probably the work. I think if I remember correctly,
you influence some people.
Yeah,
like
that was the work that was.
That's what I mean. Like
socialite,
it's a whole different world.
Influencer.
Yeah,
same thing. Socialites used to go to parties and tell people what the cool shit to do was.
Yeah, and they have similar attitudes towards like whatever I want.
You're really like persuading me to think that they're way more alike now than they.
Yeah,
both have great style. Both are. She's acerbic as well.
Yes,
she's not some warm and fuzzy bunny.
And that might be why she clocks her and is like, "You're rude," because fucking Miss Patricia's rude. I am a bitch. Like there's just like, and no one ever gives them any credit.
I got a little annoyed when they brought up Gaston on the reunion, even though it was just like 2 seconds. I don't care. I don't care about Gaston. Don't bring up someone that never showed up to the show. Like,
she wouldn't have anything else if you didn't.
Right. And I don't think she should be on the show.
No, I don't either. I was thinking about this and I was like, if I go back and think of like, I can't remember what happened in every episode, but I feel like Gaston and the pickleball jokes we were making were episode 1 or 2.
Yeah,
that like the very, very beginning. I know not a single detail more about her and her relationship or her life or her interests or her day-to-days or whatever than I did on day 1. And I think it would be more entertaining. Like, she's got to be the most interchangeable person. Like, you could pluck a new girl out of Charleston and put them in her seat and make us call her Taylor every week, and it would be more entertaining. She reminds me.
It's like on the soap operas.
That's not Jessica Buchanan.
This week, playing the role of Jessica Buchanan is Tiffany Sutherland.
Exactly.
Yeah, dude, that was the best.
Yeah, because it literally took us where we're like, huh? Okay.
Yeah, exactly. 2 seconds in, you're like, oh. Love her hair.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like when they swapped out Becky on Roseanne.
Yes. They swapped out Kendall. All My Children. Erica Kane's daughter was played by what's the girl? Sarah Michelle Gellar. She was on All My Children.
The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, the mom.
Oh,
I'm an
yeah,
OG
the
mom personally for me.
Yeah.
First of all, I was so uncomfortable when they were asking her about like, oh, do you think he's the one? She's like, I do. I'm like, I believe you this much.
Yeah.
I felt so bad for her when they were like, oh, when do you think he's going to land this plane? And she's like, well, this year. And it just made me so sad for her because I think she's finding herself again in another relationship where she doesn't hold any of the cards. Mm-mm. And then we see the whole thing with Shep happen again, where he says, oh, I will always care about Taylor, which, by the way, Shep, no one's asking you to care about Taylor. If you care about Taylor, then try to win her back. Otherwise, give it up, because it's not chivalrous. It's not this like, oh, because you're a Southern gentleman. No. It's annoying at this point. Everyone's
don't forget that Shep is a good guy. Good.
I can't remember that he's a good guy because he was never a good guy. And then Taylor comes with this thing. She's like, oh, well, did you feel that way when you had your tongue down another girl's throat? And he's like, I did not. And all I wanted to say if I was in that room, like, Taylor, either be with him and have an unfulfilling sex life for the rest of your life, but you'll be happy in every other way, or give it up. and break up with Gaston, because neither one of these things are working for you,
Dude.
and they're both tired.
You want to know something I think I might have and this is going to be, well, yeah, duh, but like, I just never really thought of it because I really have been focusing on just like how compatible they are, like with what he needs someone to be forgiving of and what she will forgive. Is really, to me, that would be the
Simpatico.
that would be the foundation of their relationship, which is real important because he's going to do some dumb stuff and she's going to accept some dumb stuff. So right there, you're halfway out of the water there. Like it's going to work. Sometimes I think that she might still feel about him the way that she does. I don't know what kind of money Gaston makes.
Well, it's not Shep
I don't
Rose
think
family
it's
money.
Shep money. Yeah, it's not that railroad money.
It's not Boykin money.
Yeah. It's not Great Gatsby character money. And so sometimes I think that she is hung up for him as long as she is because like she imagines a lot, like even if Gaston does marry her, which I don't know if he will, but even if he did, she's probably like, I would like have to get a full-time job.
No,
probably.
I actually think she really loved Shep.
Yeah,
'Cause
no,
don't
I
you
do too.
remember-
But like the money thing, like a lifestyle is what it is. Like they probably did so much fun shit
No,
together,
but they
like
did.
adventures all the time.
But
you
don't
know?
you remember they had, it was like, this was not the reason they broke up, but I think this was the straw that broke the relationships back. When he was like, quit your job, I'm going to take 30 grand of my money and we're going to go travel and
Yeah.
we'll live it up until the bank account runs dry.
Yeah.
And he said, we were in Italy. We had just had some incredible meal at like a Michelin rated restaurant. And I think we had such a good time. And we get back to the room and we're going to sleep and Taylor is in bed crying. And it was because she's like, I think we live and experience the world in two very different ways.
Oh.
Because the last time I did this, like she was on like a mission with her church or something, like serving the underprivileged or whatever it was, however she put it. And she was very uncomfortable with like the entire trip, just felt really high life gluttonous to her.
I did not know that she was like running with the missions.
She's not Mormon, so it wasn't like that, but she did go, it was like a trip of service on some level. And she's a super devout Christian or Catholic or something like that. Or she says, like, she's very religious.
Yeah, she seems it.
But so I still do think though that she was not, I think, yes, it's nice to not have to worry about money or any of that stuff. But I do think she actually just really
maybe she
liked this guy.
If she comes back next season and things are still as is, you will be forcing me to just dive right into the conspiracy that like I've heard from other people that makes total sense to me and will make perfect sense to me if she's back, that Whitney shared her nudes with some other castmates and it's like an
HR thing.
Yeah.
That's actually not a real, I'm never one to be with the conspiracies, but that's a good one.
Yeah. Like, one of the creator of the show, says right here, he's the executive producer. Just seems like that's weird that he would show some other producers and some other castmates and whatever. I don't know. I'll probably ask someone about that and just see what they think, and then like, oh, Taylor, welcome back.
Right. We'd like to renew your contract with a 3% raise.
Yeah. And decorate some more fishnets on your walls if you'd like, and some more seashells and sand, jars of sand to put in places. Sand of wherever you like, of any origin.
The little faux rowboat that's got her, Adirondack picture frames.
I want sand from the Grenadines. Sounds good. We'll send Shep.
Exactly.
That's what Shep was doing.
Was just there on a mission.
Yeah, to get sand for Taylor's apartment.
Wouldn't that be hilarious if like she was like just every week being like, I think I'll have something from here now.
Yeah.
That would be great.
Dance monkey.
That'd be the most interesting thing about her, honestly.
Yeah, that Taylor Ann I could get down with.
Yeah.
I know we're tired of talking about this, but when they got into Craig's breakup again,
I know.
There were a lot.
I'm not tired of talking about it here. I'll go all day.
Oh, okay, great. There were a lot of things that really made him a little heart sad. But when he said, I did a lot of living alone. I was in love with the potential and not the reality.
At least he knows that. That's a big...
No, that's a huge statement to be aware of. And I just like, I very much understood what he was talking about, where it's like, oh no, but they say they want to be here and like raise a family and do whatever. But she wasn't there. But he loved her so much. And for whatever the reasons are that we don't have to understand, he just did. And he's going to get, and listen, nobody's crying for Craig. He's going to meet a great girl. Maybe already has, maybe this Natalie chick. Is gonna be it, but I just was like, oh, that's real sad.
Yeah.
The term "love is blind" was made for a reason. Like, I think Andy said the most poignant thing about Paige and Craig that I've heard yet, and probably will hear about Paige DeSorbo and Craig Conover. It seems like you were prepping for a life that only one of you was interested in.
Yeah.
Like, boom, that's it. End of this.
And that's what I think I think that's what Craig was saying in this.
End. Yeah.
Moment.
Yeah, totally. But like, love is blind, which sucks, but also take the blinders off. It's fine to want a trad wife. It's fine to want a high-powered financier from New York. It's fine to want nobody. It's fine to want 6 people. But find out what you want and then go try to get that. Because the trad wife also wants a dude that wants a trad wife, and the financier dude wants a hot fashion girl from New York. Like, it might take a little longer, but you'll find there are people out there for you.
A lid for your pot, as my grandma would say.
Yeah, exactly. So don't, it's not the same as a horrible-ish analogy, but it's like I was at work trying to, actually, I can't tell that story, but imagine if you were someone who cheated on your girlfriend to get with another girl, and then 9 years later, you did that again, and the girl that you cheated with was so mad about it. You can be a little mad, but like, you can't be that mad. Like, you did this with him, and now he did it with so there's a part of me that thinks in a weird way, like, Craig, you were doing this and all you had to do was that, and you would have been like, oh, this is not going to work out.
But you know what was interesting I agree with everything you're saying. But there's this like thing that keeps popping up. It doesn't matter whether I'm watching Summer House and watching Paige talk about it, whether I'm watching Southern Charm and watching Craig's experience of all of this. We're missing a piece of this puzzle. And I get it. You never know what goes on behind closed doors. We're never going to know all of it, but something is not connecting. Why has she blocked him everywhere? Why is she saying vastly different things than he's saying? There just has to be something else, right?
Maybe. That seems very Paige DeSorbo to me. Like, when she's done, she's done.
But even like when and again, not to like, because I know we're talking about Southern Charm, but if she's saying he wasn't supportive of my career, I'm in this relationship, I'm busier, I make more money, all of this, and we're not hearing any from Craig when he's sitting on the couch with Shep and Austin in the season finale. He's like, I don't understand. We were best friends. We had such a good sex life. We laughed and got along so well. Like, why would you end that? And we're not hearing anything similar from Paige. It's just, how are these two breakup stories so vastly different? That's where I think I keep going back to as to like, what are we missing?
So Austin and Shep seem like convinced. Like, they don't seem to have like much wiggle room at all for that. There was some overlap with Paige and someone else. They seem convinced of that. And I have said it before, I have no idea. The timing of everything does open the door open for there to be like, she at least, I think, probably came into contact with someone that she could see a life with. Whether she physically did anything or even through text did anything. I am not saying that at all. But the moment that she was freed up, she's seen coming out of hotels with someone. Like, they're posting photos. Like I said, the headboard and the carpet is the same. Like, they're traveling, they're going to the Super Bowl together. Like, I'm not saying that it is not possible that she had a whirl. She's out one night and meets this guy, and one thing leads to another, and he's got tickets to this, and here now they're off and running and whatever. I'm not saying I have no idea what happened. But what I thought was funny or weird or interesting, whatever, is that when they said to Andy, well, what do you think? And he goes, that's an HR issue.
Yes.
Like, Andy could have just been like, totally honest with you, I have no idea. That could be a thing. I personally have no reason to believe she did that. I also have no idea one way or the other. So I got nothing, guys. I don't know. Like, I'll let you know if I hear anything. He could have said that, or he could have said what he said and sort of been Andy the producer, who's, so it's a little more interesting to keep the question open, you know, like maybe he knows something, maybe he doesn't. I don't know. But like either one of those things, either he knows something and he's not going to discuss it.
He knows more than we do, that's for sure.
Yeah, or he's just producing a show, just like coming down the thing and being like, Spritz Wars are back on, you know? Like
this just in.
Yeah.
On the front lines of the Spritz War battle,
Kyle's
hair looks meh and Craig's looks perfect.
Yeah. And so to go back to the ring thing in a different light, a lot of people are like, he didn't buy that ring for sure. And you know why? Because he gave too many details about it. Because he says it was a 4-carat, elongated cushion, something I didn't even know.
Cushion cut with a carat worth of diamonds around
this many carats of, or half a carat, or whatever, of a half band of diamonds. What, like, was very specific. And like, I get that. I know that people that lie will go into detail about things that you're just like, nobody asked for all those details. But I think that Craig is also the type I think that was him, possibly, if he did get the ring, telling the woman who will not take his phone calls, but I need you to know that I had, like, this was the life that you were going to have. Believing that she would be someone, listen, I do believe that Paige ShowHo gives 4 shits about the kind of ring she's going to wear for the rest of her life. I think that she will have a shit ton of input on that. I think that will mean something to her. I do not think that is going to make her be like, wait, what? And turn around and go back in the door she just exited. Like, that's not going to be a factor in her staying or leaving. Agreed. So I think that is kind of the action of someone who just never really got what she wanted. Craig, almost like, I feel like being in a relationship with Craig would be like getting lawyered every day. Like, you'd be like, no, but I want this, this, and that. And he'd be like, I'm not really good at those things, but I'm really great at this. So I'm going to give it, like, just you wait. You're going to love it. Don't worry about it. Like, it just kind of kept going on like no, I do this really well. She's going to be into it. And she's like, I've told you 50 times, I don't want any of those things. And then I think she met someone however, like I said, could have done nothing wrong, but saw someone that was like, that guy gets it.
Did she meet someone that maybe made her want to cheat on her boyfriend? And thought, oh my gosh, that's the person I should be with.
But then she broke up with Craig.
I got some advice one time.
But here's the thing.
I heard somebody close to me say once.
Be with the person you'd want to cheat on your person.
Yeah.
I will say this. If she met this dude and was like, oh my God, I think I met my person, or this guy is everything who knows if this is my person, but like, I'm super annoyed with Craig. He's not doing it for me anymore. And this person is ringing all of my bells.
Yeah.
If she then broke up with Craig and then got with this guy, that's not cheating. It might not be
that's
cool,
what I'm saying. Yeah.
But it ain't cheating.
That's exactly what I'm saying. There is no, like, that is human. That is not to be judged. That is like, if you are not getting your needs met in any fashion and you are just constant frustration and constant like missing the mark every day for like however many days in a row, and like your life is blowing up in a way that like you have all these new stresses. So now this person who was just like, you're dealing with that now is like blowing up all those things, like not like magnifying you've got these stresses and you got to deal with him still. I don't know if this is the guy that's for her that she's met. But
who is this guy?
I don't know, but he's someone. He's
you heard
pretty
it
powerful
here
in the sports world. I think that he's like I have read about him. I cannot remember anything about him,
but he's like, he isn't like on a different reality TV show.
No,
he's
no,
not an influencer. He's just like a regular
I feel like
dude.
he might manage players. He might have like a marketing agency, a sports marketing. And I mean, he probably is able to just like walk into any game and has a suite there and whatever. And I think he makes a shit ton of money, walks right into the Super Bowl. No big whoop, and like Italian, a little more machismo happening with this guy, looks the part, I'm not saying this is the guy, but it might have been just such a stark
Could you
difference.
imagine Craig Conover, this pillow guy, trying to get into the Super Bowl with his hair.
He was there.
Mad.
That's the crazy
like,
part.
They were there not together.
He
but
was down like the 50-yard line, or like he was down like on the field, I think, or like right in those seats, like right on the field. And yeah, he was there.
Mark, can you hand me another Coors Light, please?
Sure.
Just some
she also said something.
I had no idea.
That's
intense. I would be crying in the bathroom.
I don't know if they ever saw each other. I don't know if they knew each other was there, but like they were both there walking in the same Coliseum. Yeah.
Someone texted her and was like, your ex-boy is on the 50-yard line.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, I know that. Yeah, probably so.
Well, all I was going to say before Mark interrupted me, just kidding, Mark, is, have you ever heard that quote that says, like marry, be with whatever, marry someone who speaks your same language so you don't have to spend the rest of your life translating.
Buongiorno.
Buongiorno. So you don't have to spend the rest of your life translating who you are.
Yeah.
And I do think that with Paige and Craig, those differences in the beginning, opposites attract, it's a saying for a reason, because it's so interesting. And she wasn't around any guys like him, and she was only around like probably slick finance guys or whatever in New York. And her ex-boyfriend, Perry, who was the typical, I don't mean this in a bad way, but like a typical New Yorker. I saw this guy. I have seen him in other places in my life just because I'm from the East Coast. So like I'll see him in someone's picture on Instagram or whatever. I know who this guy is. That he is the polar opposite of Craig. He is not the feeling his feelings pillow king of South Carolina or wherever he lives, Charleston. I think that was really interesting to Paige in the beginning. I think she really was drawn to that in the beginning. But I think for the long term, it's what I always say. You have to be aligned with your partner. And I just think for the long term, they ain't aligned.
Yeah. I think he knew that there were issues, but I don't think he ever thought like this, I think he thought he'd be able to win. He'd be able to either win her over if she wasn't going anywhere, or like they'd been together for long enough where like they just get married and then like figure it out and whatever. I feel like if he could do it all over again, he would probably do a lot of things differently, because I do feel like, I think that he will meet someone that is better matched for him. But until that happens, I think he's going to hold her in the highest regard. And there's going to be like any girl coming in is going to have some big shoes to fill.
100% agree. And I will say this, we said it in last week's episode or the episode before. I'm obviously I'm a hippie. I'm into astrology, all of that stuff. Our birthdays are right next to each other.
Yeah.
I look at this guy and I fully know who he is from the point of view of like, these are your traits. I know these are your traits.
Yeah.
And because I share them, and he is one of those people, and I'm the same way. I'm going to like one out of like to want to be in a relationship. I'm going to like one out of every 10 million people I meet. But that one person, I don't give a shit if you were homeless 5 minutes ago, if you are a billionaire, a busboy, or anywhere in between. If I like you, and I ride for you. And I know how hard that is to come by for me personally. And so I would never give up on that. I would follow you to the ends of the earth. I would figure anything out. I would take a job I would never take to make this work, because love is the most important thing in my life. Just like how they were saying, like, Craig just wants to be in love. Craig loves being in love. When Craig's sitting on the couch, we just talked about it, when he's like, we had this, that, and the other, like, those are the greatest things ever. Why would you want to end that? And for a lot of people, they don't think this way.
Yeah.
And they are, well, but this guy's, everything I wanted in all of these other more like real world ways. Craig and I don't think in real world ways. It's like, no, we have the best sex life ever. Like, we laugh all the time. It's all of these more kind of, I don't want to say esoteric, but like more like feeling kind of things, not life things where it's like, right, but you don't want to live in the same town. You don't even want to live in the same state. But for someone like Craig, he just thinks, we'll figure it out, because the stuff that's the magic sauce, that, and you can't find that nearly anywhere. That's the hard stuff to find. That we have in spades. And I do think Craig is like really working on himself to kind of get out of that really binary place of being so locked into what he feels. But when we get into the conversation, or like the bigger conversation that they have about Craig, when they're like, Craig, you're not hearing him. It's because Craig is so black and white. And I get it because I'm black and white. Like if I'm done with someone, I'm done with someone.
Yeah.
If I've drawn, like when Austin says, Craig is very good at drawing a line in the sand so that if Shep is behaving badly and he calls us to hang out, Craig's not going to answer the phone.
Yeah.
And I get that because I wouldn't answer the phone.
Yeah.
But then it also bites him in the ass when Austin's trying to express,
Yeah.
my feelings are hurt here, or this is where I'm struggling. And Craig just can't understand, but we're friends. So just know we're friends and go from that place. Do you know what I mean? Like he's just very black and white like that.
Yeah. All of those foundational things I totally agree with, but like, I don't think that you're like Craig. I think Craig's a bit of a narcissist.
Yes, in those ways. I just mean like when they're talking about, thank you. I just
want
mean
you
in
to
the way
know that like you would go a lot higher, far high, low here and there to make something happen where I feel like he'd be like, no, we'll do it my way.
Yes, like Craig would like not cheat or steal, but like I think he would like, as we've seen, obviously he is the pillow king of, whatever, the Charleston and beyond and Kroger's. And I would obviously have approached all of that very differently. One's not right or wrong. It's just different. Where I say that
one is.
There's your baby. Where I say we're very alike. It's like when he talks about his relationships and how he would rather go home alone than go home. And Craig is by far the best looking dude on that cast.
Yeah.
Without a shadow of a doubt.
And like you'd have a conversation with him that like you'd be up all night talking to him about something.
And laughing and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And he's just so cute on every level.
I know.
Okay.
Don't I know it?
He can make a charcuterie board. Okay. And so, but my point is like, but he would rather go home alone. Like, I get that. Or he just is such a fool for love. I get that.
Yeah.
He is so just wanting this certain life to kind of exist for him that no other dude on the show, not one. If you look at the history of the show, there's not one guy that is like a real cast member, not Brett, who's, none of them want what Craig, maybe now they're starting to turn around and Austin's like, oh, I've got this great girl and I want to be with her. But like Craig is a one in a bajillion in that respect. And that's what I'm talking about, where it's like, whatever, we don't need to belabor it, but
no, I get that.
Do you have any thoughts though of when they were coming in hot to Craig?
Yeah. Millions.
Yeah.
Coming in hot about what?
Just kind of like saying like, no, Craig, this is what Austin's trying to tell you. And I thought, honestly, I did think Craig was very, it showed a lot of growth when he said, I hear you and I'm going to work on it. He wasn't as, I think, argumentative as he's been in the past.
I think they had to beat him into that though. Like,
sure, but he got there.
No, totally.
And historically he hasn't.
I have so much.
Go for it. No, because I'm enthralled by this section of the reunion, because this to me did feel very real.
So
I'm
this
curious
was like
your thoughts on it.
It was like, I was trying to think like Craig clearly needs to see a therapist, but he will never go see a therapist. Craig needs a mentor, or like we need to find the one person in the world that Craig would actually listen to and trust to convince him to go see a therapist and actually be open to therapy and not just lawyer. Like, I feel like he would spend an entire session lawyering his way out of like whatever. No, here's why we're going to do it my way instead. No, that doesn't work. Let me tell you how it does work.
Yeah.
Like Craig's got a battle in front of him. In the very beginning of the season, Mike was saying Austin and Shep, they know him best. They would be the first people to say like, yeah, I noticed that was not going to end well, or that I saw
his relationship with Paige.
With Paige, yeah. And we were both arguing like, A, they're idiots. And he'd be like, it doesn't matter. There's friends. They're closest to him. They're watching it happen. If anyone was going to see it, it would be them. And we were like, it would make me irate to even entertain that, because they weren't good friends to him. Like, or maybe Austin was, but Austin, I can't even remember why I was upset with Austin. We talked about it earlier, but like specifically with respect to Craig, I just remember us kind of being like, you weren't good friends to him. And so now for you to think that he should listen to you about something, like you just sort of like lost the right. Shep and Whitney specifically, had lost their right to really like have an opinion on like what he should do, and expected it was going to be received with like open, like, oh, you've always had my best intention in heart, so of course you're going to have it now. When Shep says to him, you know, they start talking about communication, like, yeah, Craig could have communicated a lot better about a lot of things. He could have told them a lot more. I feel like Shep is talking about this as if we're all supposed to pretend that we didn't watch the way that he treated Craig for however many seasons.
10 years.
Some were worse than others.
Yeah.
But when they were bad, like they were pretty gnarly. They were pretty gnarly. And so that's irritating to me, that like he just expects that, like, you know, third party friends are like, which I've never heard it called that before.
Same.
A third party friend is a really valuable thing. Like it could be helpful to a relationship. Like maybe his relationship didn't like maybe he was just too focused on the relationship because he wasn't like talking to anyone else, and maybe that was a problem or whatever. And I was just thinking like, that's all good and lovely. And like the idea of that in a perfect world would be great. I don't know the last time he has really trusted any of you. Austin, maybe more so than anyone, but according to everyone, just as we hear that Craig is an embellisher, we hear often that Austin is a gossip. Austin has also said that like, oh, it doesn't really matter what Shep does. I always answer the phone, and Shep can kind of get him to do whatever. Shep doesn't really matter what Shep does. So Craig might be like, if I am going to trust anyone, it's Austin, but he does have a little bit of a gossip issue, and he's talking to Shep all the time, and Shep is always using things against me. No matter what I tell Shep, somehow Shep will bring it up at a time that's either the most inconvenient time for me to hear about that. Like, yes, he's right, but like now I wish I wouldn't have even told him about that. Even when they go back and talk about like what he lied about, Craig lied to his parents, basically. Like, I think he was trying to basically not tell his parents that he hadn't graduated. Like, I feel like that was the root. Like, yes, I'm sure he didn't want anyone to know that he had been having issues and just to get shit for it. But I think that the number one people that he was like freaking out about finding out what was going on with his education were probably his mom and dad.
Yeah.
So when they're at the table and they basically bust him in front of him, and Whitney's like, well, did you graduate? Well, that's not a conversation to be had in front of parents. I will.
At that time, they had no idea that he didn't actually graduate.
But I don't know that, though.
No, they've all said it, because even Craig was like,
sure,
that was crazy. And Whitney's like, I swear to God, I had no idea. I was just busting your balls because I knew you were lying about other things. And Craig even said, he was like, it was crazy that you keyed in on that because nobody knew that. So not that matters, because they were still being assholes. I just always think that's so interesting, because it's like,
yeah, no, I didn't know
the
that
truth
like
will find
they
its way
really
to
never
light.
knew. But I also like find it really hard to believe that like they just came up with that out of thin air.
I honestly think Craig was just telling these lies, these little white lies all over the place, that it wouldn't be weird to question him there, because you're questioning him everywhere.
Yeah. This is also coming from someone who printed out a fake report card in high school, and my mom put it on the refrigerator, and I walked by that thing every day for a semester, and I didn't give a shit. Parents are a pain in the ass.
No wonder you're in love with Craig.
If you grew up thinking that you were a hot shit lawyer and you were going to be some superstar lawyer and you love the law and you're going to be so wealthy at your lawyer skills and you manipulated all your friends growing up because you're such a great storyteller, and then the time came for you to prove that,
oh, this would be the time.
Wouldn't it seem funny that the only thing you had to do was write paper? You left off one paper?
What was that? Like,
it
why
doesn't
was
matter
that?
what it
No,
was,
but I'm
but
just
you
curious,
didn't
like,
graduate
why
because
did he
of
not do that?
one
That's what Mike's
paper.
saying.
Oh, are you saying that it was more than that?
No, he's saying like,
I'm saying that maybe
it
you
was
got a little
axe
cold
paper.
feet. Maybe you got scared. Maybe you sabotaged yourself. Maybe you didn't write off paper after 4 years of college and 3 years of law school.
That
I'm
ain't
not a
cheap.
mathematician,
And
but that's
time.
7 years of papers. You forgot one? The last one?
Yeah, that
The
adds
one
up.
thing that was going to make you go prove to the world that you were the best lawyer ever?
No, that
Seems weird.
that adds up.
great point, Mark.
Because that's exactly what someone who really was. Because I think that narcissists are not confident. Like they believe something so hard, but like in reality, they're scared shitless inside, and they might not even know it. But like self-sabotage would be like a very easy thing to, I believe that. Like I could see him doing that. And for everyone out there, I'm not saying that I don't know I know a couple narcissists, and I like Craig way better than them. So I don't know if he is exactly that, but like I just recognize some traits about him that,
I don't think he's a narcissist, because I think by definition, a narcissist is someone who cannot empathize with another person. It is just
Craig has a bit of a problem empathizing with the people around him sometimes. I mean, he's just good at being like, sounds like a you problem.
It is a very Aquarian way to think of just like, right, but that's on you. That's not my fault. Like,
yeah.
If you tripped across the street, I'm so sorry. I can feel bad for you, but that doesn't mean that like it's my fault and I can just keep walking to where I have to go because I'm already running late. Like,
yeah.
And that could seem super shitty and callous. And yes, you should go help someone if they tripped. And clearly Craig jumped into the pool to help this person Vanita, when she was drowning.
Yeah.
He's very good at being, this is my dance space. This is your dance space. That's a you problem, not a me problem. And that's very Aquarius.
I'm realizing now I'm always telling you that you're so much like Craig. I don't think you're a narcissist.
At all.
Yeah.
Like I do.
No, I think she thinks all the cute parts about you are like Craig.
Yeah. And some of the frustrating parts.
Yeah, Mike, just take the bar already.
So I gotta write my paper.
The thing about all of Craig's friends is that I think it's kind of why Craig finds himself like making relationships the center of his life, because maybe Craig has friends outside of this. I know he has a brother, but like I don't know who else Craig's hanging out with, but if these are his friends, no wonder why he just gets into relationships and puts every single thing in that person, puts all of his trust in them, tells them everything, and doesn't really like divulge a ton of shit to these other guys, because he's had a shitty group of friends for a very long time. I wouldn't tell them dick all either.
Don't you remember in the beginning of this season, Shep goes, he was talking with Austin. He's like, Craig never is vulnerable with us. He's never open with us. And I'm thinking to myself, yeah, you dumb dick, because you're so nasty to him.
You
all
used
the time.
it against him the second you can.
Yes, and you always say you're the big brother to him, and you were terrible to your little brother, and you just want to rub his nose and all of his wrongdoings and tell him how stupid he is and how much he doesn't know and all this stuff. It's like, why would he roll over and show you his soft underbelly if you're going to crush it?
Yeah.
Different show, same guy. He did tell Kyle last Wednesday that he doesn't have any friends.
Yeah.
If you're someone who has off-camera friends, maybe you can get away with telling your real friends, like, bro, those fucking TV stuff. But if my friend who was on the show said, oh, I don't have any friends, I'd be like, you don't have any friends, bro? We're not friends. Oh, okay. Okay, cool. It's cool. Oh, it's for TV? That would bother me. I wouldn't have a friend like that. But like if that happened, so maybe Craig doesn't have any friends.
He did say on Watch What Happens Live, the older he gets, the smaller his group of friends gets. And I do think that there's something to what Mike just said.
Yeah, typically that's because you get wiser, not because you get more annoying and then have to come up with excuses as to why no one wants to hang out with you.
Who wants to be typical?
No, everyone loves Craigie.
Why do we think that it bothers Craig so much when Austin, drinks / gets drunk? Because I think both irritate him.
I want to ask you that because I have no idea. Like I can assume the worst and I can assume the best. I got two options, but they are like, I couldn't tell you one is more likely than the other. I have no idea why it bothers him so much.
Have you ever been in a relationship with someone where like you love this dude and he is ringing all the bells, but for some reason he can't handle his liquor? And not like, oh, I've had 2 glasses of wine and I'm an embarrassment. It's more like you don't know when to stop. And then it's just like you want to stay up too late. You're slurring your words. Like all of a sudden this person that I thought was so sexy and cool and all these things and funny and everything. It's like, I'm going home alone. Like you're grossing me out right now. Have you ever had this experience with someone?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it doesn't have to be, I would imagine it's not recently. I'm just saying like you've dated someone that you're really into that does this. I wonder if Austin, when he really is like out on the town with the boys, that's who he becomes. And I wonder if it really grosses Craig out because Craig realizes that's what his behavior was.
Yeah, maybe.
It's like those like reformed smokers, like people who used to smoke and now they like, even if they're around someone who's down the block smoking, I can't breathe. I can't even be around this. I know so many smokers who are, or ex-smokers who are like that now. I'm like, do you know how much we had to deal with your secondhand smoke? And by the way, I think it's gross and I'm glad that they don't smoke anymore and don't want to be around it. But it's just, I think that maybe there's a little bit of that with Craig in this situation. And even if Austin is having one martini, it's not that first martini. It's what Craig knows that first martini is going to lead him to, which is the gross behavior that really makes Craig be like, right. And then you become like this weird dude that's just like, I don't want to be around. It's kind of embarrassing. And then we have to do the pod tomorrow. You're going to show up hungover. And so then it's me dealing with a grown man hungover the next day. And all of it is just like, grow up. I wonder if that's where it's coming from.
Why isn't that problem with Shep then? Like it doesn't.
Because I don't think he hangs out with Shep as much. He doesn't own a restaurant with Shep and he doesn't do a podcast with Shep. So I don't think it's in his backyard. Like
so I don't disagree with what you're saying. And I think, yes, we all have known somebody, it doesn't even have to be a relationship, that you're like, oh, this guy's cool or this girl's cool. And then they get too wasted and you're like,
Totally.
oh my God, this is a piece of shit. But like Shep has been way worse. So I think the question is, why is Craig this way with Austin? Why do you get so emo about Austin's behavior?
Because I think he loves Austin more than he loves Shep. Like, that's why I use the example of like, have you ever been with someone that you really are into this person?
There's something about the thing that throws me off about it is that Craig says, no, you do not have a problem with alcohol. And I don't know if Craig would go so far as to say that, like, because that is pretty exonerating, you know, to say like you don't have a problem with alcohol. A drastic change of behavior, like a light switch, like we hear about people that have a light switch, you know, when they drink, that's a problem. Like you might not be a full-blown alcoholic, but like that is a problem. So it's so that's why like it wasn't as easy for me to just like that's one idea, or there's the other one, which is that Austin doesn't have a problem and isn't affected, and Craig is, and he's like,
See,
why?
This just occurred to me when you were talking and I was answering my own question. Craig is the dude that you love, and then he gets drunk and you're like, fuck, bro, I'm good, thanks. Shep is also the dude
100%.
that you love, and then he gets wasted and you're like, Austin is the dude that doesn't even realize you have a problem with alcohol when you said you're not drinking anymore. He just thinks you're being a little bitch. Austin's cool. Austin's fun drunk. Austin, have we ever seen Austin get out of hand? Like
just that
with
one
the
reunion where
girls.
they were all, where him and Craig were both so smashed, but Austin was almost like just
was he
almost just
being-
emotional because it was like him and Madison were like sort of freshly broken up, and he was just like, "You're so mean."
But
to
he
me.
wasn't being that, like he was just being sad drunk emo
That's
guy.
what I mean.
He wasn't
He had
being
an
the guy that you were
excuse.
like,
Yeah.
you're going out tonight, you're getting drunk. Yeah, I'm not going if Craig and Shep are going. Is Austin going? I'll go party with Austin. That guy's funny as hell. He started crying and shit last time. That was, oh my God. That's Austin. If you have a problem with alcohol, then maybe that's that's the reason why it's focused at Austin, is because Austin's fine, and
Craig needs to do more work personally.
Yeah, listen,
No,
it's
yeah,
all
no,
Craig.
it's
It's
not.
all Craig.
There's
This whole
so
You can't
much
be
of
mad at
this
someone
is
else because
Craig.
they don't have a bad relationship with.
yeah,
I just
or envious of them.
yeah.
He might be envious, and his show of envy is anger and hatred and frustration with somebody. Like
Because he literally says like, why do you get so mad? He goes, I don't know.
I don't know.
Like so often, if you're so mad at someone, like speaking for me personally, like you have to entertain that, like something that is making you so uncomfortable in someone else, especially if you can't identify it and can't pinpoint it, like it is very likely just something that you've got going on within yourself that you can't get control of. And they're either mirroring it, or they're reminding you of it, or they're flicking you with it because they have it under control, but you can't, and they get to go do all these things and drink all those beers and still like Like when he was like, I don't know why Craig said I was Xannied out. Like, I don't take Xanax. Like, it's like he's trying to make me the problem. And like, I'm not the problem. And like, I know that that's an easy thing to say. I'm not the problem. I'm not saying that like, oh, we just believe Austin. But like the way that he said it, he really looked like honestly confused.
Yeah. But again, it's Craig and JT's painting of their picture of life, you know? Like, did Austin take some Xannies once and get wasted and then be like, oh, we got to do the pod tomorrow?
Who hasn't?
Yeah, who hasn't? We've all been there.
Yeah.
I'm doing it right now.
Like the same way Shep is going to weaponize your emotions if you tell him stuff, Craig is going to sensationalize a thing that happened.
Yeah.
It's the tabloid thing that we talked about either in the last episode that aired or this one that's going up tomorrow. Reality shows are tabloids. There's a little bit of truth, and then the good people take that and run with it. Craig should be the editor of the National Enquirer.
But do you think, because I know, I get that. I've done that with people before. I'm like, this annoys the piss out of me that this person does it. And it annoys me because I get it. See it in myself, whatever projection.
Or like I've done it before and I've got it under control now, but like I know what that is.
Yes.
Like, I don't even want to believe that I did that thing before or like that I was susceptible to that. Like all sorts of like
Madonna
there's
said
an
it
array of
about
things.
being a mother to her daughter. Like when she was really young, she goes, I will get so frustrated with my daughter because I see her doing exactly what I do. And she's like, no, you're running game on me. I invented that game.
Yeah.
And obviously she loves her daughter, but like I understood what she meant by that, where it's like, no. You don't get to pull that. That's my thing. And by the way, none of us should be doing it. But do you think that Craig is that blind to his own behavior that, because I would have thought maybe in that moment that could have been a great like winning moment for Craig to then say, I think I get frustrated with you doing that because of my unhealthy relationship with alcohol.
I think that Craig is in a constant, like when they talk about like, God, Craig just thinks he's like living in a commercial. Craig knows that he is a ticking time bomb. And the fact that he has gotten as far as he has is by the love of God. And like that it was like, yes, I like how we talked about like, yes, I think that he's like, no, I did deserve all that. I should have gotten that 10 years ago. And I should have, but I do think that he is not completely dumb to the fact that like all of this could be taken away any second. Also, imagine where you were during like the time of breakup. I have never been a bigger control freak than I was in like the first like 3 to 6 months after my divorce, where I was just like, everything has got to be, we got to put that away over here. This has to go here. This needs to be paid on this date. I can't, like, she's got this going on. I can't talk to her until she's got that figured out. Like everything was just like, I have no control over the largest part of my life that like I'm dying to have. So if everything else isn't exactly how it should be, it's all going to fall apart and I can't,
and you
nothing
also
else
can't take
can
any
crack.
Surprises.
I
So
can't
it's
take any
like-
surprises. It's a control your controllable situation to the nth degree during that time frame. And that's what he's going through right now. So he's going to be extra hardcore about drawing lines. And I think that he will soften up. I don't know if this is the girl for him. We talked about like how we're like, oh, we have a feeling this is just a rebound. Anybody else that were to get involved this quickly, like it's always a rebound. Craig is a different bird. So like if he didn't want it to be, maybe it won't be. Like he can make that relationship into anything that he wants it to be. She'll probably be a willing participant.
Yeah.
But like I look just one look at her and I'm like, that's not your girl. But what do I know?
There was this rumor going around that she was Jimmy Buffett's granddaughter.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Jimmy Buffett's kids are like 25 to 30 and she's 27. Like the math didn't math.
I don't think this is the girl for him, and not simply because I'm a Niners fan. The Cowboys, Dak Prescott.
Wait, is she a cowboy?
And she's his ex-girlfriend. So she can herself. As far as I'm concerned, Craig now has cooties.
God.
Not
Now, just now you've decided. I feel like
Unless he dated some other ex-Cowboys
Circle,
trash.
circle, dot, dot. Craig, you've got the cootie shot, so you're fine. Mike, do you have any other feelings on that whole? It was a big chunk of the end of the episode when everyone was kind of coming in on Craig.
I have some feelings.
Which
My
are?
feeling is I have not watched the Emmys in a long time. And I've worked on AGT for 8 years now. And we don't get nominated for Emmys, which is weird because our COVID year hands down, should have been Emmy. That's beside the point.
For your consideration.
Yeah, we do. We say Alan Wells, shout out. He puts the edits in every year. We submit. Not going to go into it. That being said, I don't know if there is a Emmy for the best teaser trailer editing goes to Southern Charm. Whoever is putting together the teasers for this, the reunion, the entirety of the season, the next week on Southern Charm. Bravo. Can we just real quick for that person? Good job.
Making love out of nothing.
Yeah, seriously. That's what I think this, and again, we kind of talk like, hey, you got 9 good ones. Every once in a while, you throw a dud, and this is what season 10 was. Just fine. In the documentary, we'll reference it. But the whole thing was just brilliant trailers, brilliant teasers, brilliant coming attractions, as Courtney likes to call them, including the finale, including the reunion with the Venita and oh man, it's going down. Do you want me to get my phone? Oh, I feel like it's about to get a lot worse. No,
Nothing.
Oh, nothing. Who's scared of Craig? They were giggling when there was nothing. It wasn't like a real thing. It's like, oh yeah, we get scared when we say, hey Craig, we don't agree with you, and he has a temper tantrum,
and then we get a notice of termination.
Yeah, like it wasn't real. It's all fake. The Shep and Sienna thing. I'm gonna merge them now. Fake. Like the whole thing was just epic teasers, and that's it. So that's how I feel about how hard they went in on Craig. That's how I feel about next week's episode of Pillows and Beers that's gonna drop, because none of this shit was real. Like, it was all fake. It's all fake. I think Craig is whatever, storytelling his life. I think Shep is living in a story. I think Austin is just trying to keep his job. I do think Austin and Craig have feelings for each other. I think that friendship is real.
I do too.
I think Austin's whole in my head, all I hear is, hey guys, wait up.
Yeah. Dude, so Jenny Pentland and Jess, who probably don't watch this show, Boot, these are old friends of mine. A bunch of us sitting at Jess's apartment once, and we were all talking and telling stories. And at the time, I think I'd just moved to LA, so I was staying with Jess, and I was living on the couch. They were complaining about like first world problems. And I was sitting there being like, motherfucker, like I have to sleep on the couch every night. And I was like sitting there, and they got too much. And I was like, I'm throwing my hat in the ring. And I was like, dude, you guys, you don't even know. Guys, you don't. And everyone just kept talking. And I was kind of sitting in the corner of my bed on the couch. And I was like, hey, guys, you don't. Guys, and the only person listening was Jess on the other end of the couch, and she just started pissing her pants dying. And she's like, you're about to tell everyone that you sleep on the couch and no one will listen. And I was like, hey guys. So like that became a joke of like every time it was me being like, hey guys, and no one would listen. That's Austin.
That's Austin not getting any of his scenes aired.
Yeah, exactly. Hey guys.
He's just been saying hey guys to 4 camera guys all year. Yeah. And they're like, yeah.
Yeah, dude. The editors kicked him out of the group chat.
I think the red light's supposed to be on. No.
This is rehearsal.
Exactly.
Rehearsal's
We're
up.
just testing the new
Why do you
equipment.
guys
None
keep
of this is
saying
going to see the light of day.
Yeah. No, we took the tally lights off of these cameras, Austin. Okay.
Well, then should we do comments?
I'm going to start because I feel like that maybe you changed your mind and you wrote this before you saw the first or before you watched the second part of the reunion. If I had to make a choice between JT or Venita returning, Venita can stay as friend of. Totally agree. Mm-hmm. Until she gets a life. Also agree. She could be invited to parties only just for the fashion. 100% agree. Not much dialogue. She can be like Rodrigo, make a comment once in a while, but limit the fakery. 100%. But do you still feel that way? Curious minds want to know. No.
Are you asking her?
That one.
Are you asking her if she's
like still down to have Venita back as a friend of, or if she's like, no, dude, I'm over it.
Not
Peace
an
out.
either or thing. Are we like if we're doing JT or Venita, or we're just saying?
I think we all know the answer to that. Nothing's changed
no one wants JT
with that.
back.
Yeah, JT, bye.
JT, bye.
Not interested. But I'm interested to see, because I know Nettie and I have been on the same page about many things. One of those is, for fuck's sake, Vanita. It's just...
I would personally like Vanita gone, but if she has to stay, I want her to stay in the capacity that Nettie said. That's all that's the most I would be comfortable with. I can't have her as a main cast member. I can't follow another nonsensical going nowhere storyline. I'm good.
I'm realizing in this moment, I think that the problem could be friend ofs, because I think that they chime in, and if it's not what we think should be said, or if it's not helpful, we're all screaming, "Shut up, Leva! Nobody asked you!" I think that they should get characters that are the characters. They're here. We're going to follow them. We're going to see it all. Invest in your characters, show their stories. I don't want someone chiming in. I don't need those Ryan types. Rodrigo, give him a story or get him gone. These sideshow characters, I just don't, or he should just show up to parties now and again. No confessionals. Yes. I don't want to hear his story. I don't want to hear his take on anything. If he wants to just throw a line in the situation to mix it up, great. But
what are you talking about?
He's saying any of the friends of
are problematic, I think.
I'll give you 2 friends of for one main character. I'll give you 4 friends of for one main character energy person. I don't need, do you know what I'm saying? I'll trade you Vanita, JT, Leva, Taylor, and Rodrigo for one Shep.
Yeah.
I need main character energy. I don't need a bunch of frayed half storylines.
I need everyone to be responsible for moving a story forward.
Yeah.
And not coming up with something, ooh, this red hot trigger might work as they're entering somewhere or as they're getting ready. I need everyone to be trying to keep their jobs every year as a full-on paid cast member with health benefits.
Yep. I never know how to pronounce this. I know you call this person Latrell Red. Hi! Exclamation point. Finished watching the reunion when Andy asked Vanita if she still wants to be friends with JT, and she said yes. I said out loud, no, me too.
Yeah.
So they will be back next season. Oh my God, I didn't see this part. Missing B, she misses you too. I'm gonna bring her back if Aunt Natalie says it's okay.
Yes, you bring her anytime you want.
I will bring her. Thanks everyone. Enjoy your weekend. Thank you. We are enjoying our weekend. But I think everyone in this room had the same. I think everyone in America had that response when she said yes. We all screamed no, and for Madison's response to be like, well, that's honest. It is, but say something, because if it were a real main character, you would be like, that is some bullshit. Just saying.
No, my response was, what planet are you living on? And I don't want to know. Just take your small friend, grab his toupee, it's stuck to his shoe, and get gone, and don't write. Yeah. Who is the male on the telecast?
What's up? I'm going to answer that later.
Oh, okay.
I'm Mike. Hi.
Mark, Matt.
Yeah. Pat Clark, her, and Joanne. Joanne, who loves Paige. I'm kidding. Sorry, Joanne. Don't at me. That was a joke. I know you don't like Paige. But her and Joanne had a funny back and forth about Craig getting his shit back. Pat Clark, 2398. He's lucky he got his shit back. I know a million women that would have thrown his shit away. And Joanne said, those women are gross. Paige lied, led him on, and then cheated. So if she also threw his stuff away, I suppose I wouldn't be surprised, because she is gross.
Have I mentioned how gross she is?
Yeah, did I say she's gross?
Let's just say this. Everyone has, I think everyone, but maybe the 3 of us has their definitive camp that they're in. Because when you read through our comment sections, people either loathe Craig and live for Paige, or vice versa, I'm sure. It's crazy. And here I am, someone who loves to draw a line in the sand and be like, this is it. I've decided I can't figure it out to save my life.
No.
I don't have a side.
I love Craig so much, but I also love Paige so much. I've never been in a situation where I didn't I like one more than the other, only because she's a girl and she's funnier. But like, as far as like watching a character, like as just like, oh, this character is going to be entertaining me, they're pretty equal.
But like, even if I think about current stuff that's happening on other Bravo shows, right? Like on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, there's a lot of divorce happening on that show right now. It's like contagious. And Kyle and Mauricio, obviously they were the couple of Bravo. So nice. I've actually met them a multitude of times and they are lovely people.
Yeah.
I loved them, was in love with them as a couple. Right off the bat, I was like, yeah, Mauricio cheated and broke her trust. And here we are. And it is what it is.
He wears stackable bracelets. Come on.
But we're now a cumulative 2 seasons in with Summer House and Southern Charm, and I still can't figure out whose quote unquote side I'm on or what happened. I literally just said in this episode, we're missing something. We don't have the full picture. Anyway, moving on. It's fine.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Nat, this was it. It was Joanne Greco. She said, why aren't you guys digging into Housewives and Married to Medicine? So it was any Housewives. I'm scrolling now.
Listen, I did reply. I was watching something and the Married to Medicine reunion came on, and I was like, oh snap. Well, why aren't we watching that?
I did watch
seems
Married to
like
Medicine.
pretty fun.
I just was at a time where we were like an embarrassment of riches with reality TV shows. So that one fell to the wayside. But I would happily, Joanne, recap any and all of the Housewives because I watched them all.
Johnny smiles again with the funnies. And also this one, not that you don't normally have good points. You do. They're just funny. But this one I liked a lot. JT started off as some kind of 80s movie nerd who can't figure out why the cheerleader likes the football player. I was really digging it. His narrative fell off track this season. But the 80s, like he came in last year as that like nerd that's like, I don't get it.
Yeah.
Well, you're not a football player, nerd.
Or not even I don't get it. It was also like a little bit of, hey, why he's got the hottest girl in school. Why is he so mean to her? Or why is he hooking up with other girls at this party and like outing that person? I do really quick, because I was just on Joanne's comments. I do have a question for Joanne. In one of her comments, it says, are you kidding? ? Paige cheated. ! It's a big deal. ! I need to know this. Joanne, am I missing something?
I know. Did I miss an interview? Did I miss a Dumois post?
Yes, because she's saying it so emphatically.
Yeah.
Like, y'all, you have missed it. Here is the article. Did you not read it? And so I'm genuinely asking, is there some cold hard facts that we have that none of us are aware of, that it's like, no, here's like the timestamp, here's the TikTok that breaks it all down where we know she cheated? Or are these just like feelings that we're having where it's like,
the girl, Joe D'Amelio's ex-fiance said that they were texting inappropriately for however long. I just haven't seen anything from that woman in a bit. Like, she dropped that and basically dropped a hard insinuation that like this thing was happening. She didn't name Paige, but Paige and Joe were clearly hanging out, and like it just very much insinuated that it was Paige, but she didn't say her name.
Did she
and
show
suddenly
screenshots?
It like, no.
Okay.
And then suddenly it like just dropped off. So I don't know if Joe convinced her like, I'll give you some more alimony, whatever,
Simmer
like
and settle.
simmer and settle, or if she was just like, had just gotten broken up with and is doing like what so many women would do, of just like trying to point fingers at anyone and like, I have no idea. So I think that we are all aware that like there are a lot of fishy things happening around this specific period of time. We've just said a million times now, like, we just don't know. Like, yes, we're open to that could have happened. We
totally.
just don't know.
I'm just looking for like, did I miss it?
No, that's what I've been thinking too,
moment.
but I'm pretty sure we know everything and they've just decided. I think Joanna's just like, I'm going with my gut on things. Joanne's going with her gut on something.
Well, I was actually thinking, when I say like, I feel like Mauricio cheated, I don't have cold hard facts. I just know that it was on I'm pretty sure it was on some reunion. Kyle said there was some shady stuff going on. I think like in his DMs or something like that, there was a breach of trust, and that was the catalyst for all of it. And to me, that is the veiled language of he on some level cheated.
Kyle said this about who?
Mauricio.
Oh my God. I thought you were about Kyle and Summer House. So I'm like,
no,
they
no,
know
no.
each other?
No.
But then I was like, maybe they do. It's all Bravo people. I don't know.
So anyway, it's probably the same thing.
If I didn't like Paige, my instinct would be like, I would be like, she did it. So I could be clouded. But again, I could also just be seeing clearly and not have a bias. That could be something too.
I think
We don't know.
just like both of them so much
Yeah, that we're
that's
like,
why
we're not going to assume anything that we don't have hard facts on.
for better or worse.
Yeah. I'm not going to be a part of the problem.
Trisha S. Vader had one point about why Brett may have told Madison about the thing on camera. I believe Madison 1000% that was the first time she heard of the cancer, and it was not produced. I think Brett may have chose to tell her on camera because he knew she wouldn't break down on camera, which gave it a moment to sink in. Just my crazy thoughts. I didn't even think about that, but that's the kind of shit like when you know you're going to go home and mom's going to yell at you and you're like, hey, Dave, can you come home with me just for a little bit? Because I'm about to get so in trouble and it might be a little bit less if you're there. That never worked for me. But I know some other friends that worked with, and I was that friend who'd be like, yeah, I got you. So like, I feel like that's kind of that moment.
Totally.
And I was like, yeah, damn, that's smart, Brett. Because she wouldn't have cracked on camera, and he knew that. And he's like, I'm going to do this so I don't get in trouble. Yeah, good call. Good call.
I just want to say, Christy Sheeks, she loved Truth for Peace for Freedom. She said it had some wonderful and really funny ideas, and I loved it.
Yeah, all her spin-off ideas.
Yeah, we're so good.
They were hilarious.
Carol T says, when Vanita yelled, answer the question, you're not here to just look cute. Yes, vomit did rise to my throat. And Palava Girl said, only Delulu Vanita would think JT is cute. Vanita does not belong on this show. Just saying. Palava, I actually wrote back to you, and then I'm seeing it is still in the box. It never got hit. So I just want to tell you that I agree. She doesn't belong on this show. I believe that this show doesn't respect her, and I believe that she is willing to do too many things that shame herself. And it's just a bad combination. Like, she's never going to be a main storyline. They don't give her the respect to be. And so she's trying to do everything she can to stay on the show. So she's open to like way too many things that like, it's like, we all know that like in a couple of years, she's going to look back and be like, thank God I didn't go back because I was not acting
wasn't the best version of myself.
Yeah, I was not, because no one else wants to do anything. And so she's like, I'll do it. That's how I feel about her. Like, they're just using her. And she's going along with it because she's like probably trying to work, trying to win, trying to like, no, I'm on a show. No, it's good money. No, it's a good opportunity. I'm not going to throw it away. I'm going to do what I can to, it's fiscally responsible. You know, we all look at things that way. She's the type that's going to have 50 more opportunities the second she leaves there, and she should open herself up to 100%. Accepting those.
I know I've mentioned Joanne a few times, but she brings up another really good point, and we talked about it earlier on this episode. She said, OMG, you still don't believe JT used the B word, like talking about with Miss Patricia. I just want to be very clear about this. It's on a technicality. At this point in the season, I don't think JT is a good guy. I don't think JT is someone that, how about this? Not even I think. I don't want JT back on the show. I think that he was probably saying a lot of really unkind things about Miss Pat. I just think in this moment, I don't think he was like, she's a bitch. That's all I'm saying.
Courtney, why are you so stuck on that one word as being like you really want to say that he did not say that? Like, you believe he could say a million other things, but like you're refusing to believe that bitch would ever come out of this guy's mouth.
No, not ever. Like in his life. Like I said, at this point in the season, I'm not saying that he couldn't have said that. I just think that's why I said it's a technicality. I think in this moment.
Why?
I just think for whatever reason, not for whatever reason.
I know. I need the reason. Like, I want to get this done and over with and move on with our lives.
Because Shep didn't remember it. Like, Austin didn't remember it. There's no audio of it. I just think if he said in that moment when he was mic'd at the golf thing, because that's when I remember that this whole thing happened. I think if he said it, they would have had it on audio and they would have nailed it. It's why Robert, what's his name, is in jail right now, because he still had his audio on and he goes in the bathroom. Remember after he killed all those people and he's like, I killed them all. If they had the audio, they would play the audio. I think
so. You think that it had to be on, like he would have never waited till he was unmiked and then just like said it to Craig, because like him and Craig do go and do things on the side off together. Like they went and had their, remember I was like, oh, he went and got Craig his banana and got him his coffee. Like, you don't think that there's like
that he said it at a different time?
Just like they're walking to their cars and he's just like, God, this lady's a bitch. Like, it's so easy. Like, we're making this word as if it's like a dagger to the heart.
Totally.
Like, it's just like It's just a word. Like we say bitch all day long. Like I'm not calling
I
people
don't
bitch.
call women like I really don't call like I'm not like she's such a bitch.
And you think you and JT are on the same moral
Absolutely
compass?
not. No, Your Honor, I do not.
Okay.
Listen, I think he sucks. I'm sure he said a million bad things.
I know.
Just,
I just
whatever
think that
reason,
you're hanging your hat really hard on something that it's like he could have said that just as clear as day as anyone could say anything. Like he is not above anything to, again, like
You know
clearly
what it
like
is?
we are never going to see eye to eye on this because like I think that you were giving him so much credit and maybe you think I'm trying to take him down, but I just think he's as human as the next guy is. And like that word is a fucking word. Who gives a shit?
Totally. I think because I'm so
You.
A guy talking to another guy, someone like him trying to relate, trying to be cool, like God, she's kind of a bitch, right? Like, like that is just JT will do anything to like, oh yeah, no, I'm cool, you're cool, we're cool, right? Like,
I'm cool. Debbie Roller 7646 has an opinion on
please.
why we smash JT and let Craig slide, being that they're the same.
hotness.
Yeah, basically. JT is not fun. First, she says, get rid of JT. He's arrogant and mean. Yeah. JT's, and then another comment. JT is not fun. Craig is handsome, fun, and sexy, so we give him a little wiggle room. JT is arrogant and a punk. I can't stand to watch him at all. You're not alone.
At all.
But yeah, it is funny that two dudes can do the same kind of nonsense, and if one's hot and one's not, the hot one's like, oh, it's just Craig being Craig,
Yeah,
and then the other one's like,
I think
what
we've
a
all
dick.
been
Like,
pretty
you're
clear
both
about our bias.
doing stupid stuff.
And also, he's just like a funner hang.
I just want to say that nobody remembers Craig's first Natalie. Christy
know.
Sheeks doesn't. Pat Clark doesn't. Nobody remembers this Natalie.
I don't remember it, and I do a show
you're the
about this
namesake.
show. I'm her namesake.
I bet she probably doesn't even remember that she was Craig's Natalie.
Guys, I have a question. Pat Clark said, Corey is my hero. Who's Corey?
Don't know, but it's Pat's hero.
I'm just going to go with it's me because it's the closest to my name. And if that's true, you're mine.
Kit Kat says, love you guys. I was listening to another podcast where two attorneys, an entertainment attorney, a contract attorney had obtained Leah McSweeney's contract and dissected it with commentary from Craig Conover. Craig told them how much money Bravo will pay for additional filming circumstances. For example, Bravo will pay for travel expenses to a Bravo-related function, i.e. BravoCon. But if Craig was traveling to Nashville, for example, to promote Sewing Down South, Bravo could still film, but because Craig was going there anyway, Bravo wouldn't pay. They also own any catchphrase, i.e. I'm a lawyer and a storyteller. That blows my mind. I would be so pissed if I just like randomly said that and it would like turn into the hit that it was. And like if I wanted to make a t-shirt, I didn't own it.
There's merch. There's a merch that has it. I can't remember if I saw it on. Well, there's probably sold on both sites. Bravo's merch tab, and then I think it's also on Sewing Down South.
There are so many.
No, I get it.
That they
so
own.
if Craig
That's
printed that
crazy.
on a pillow, t-shirt, koozie, Bravo gets a cut. It is interesting to hear what talent can or cannot say in relation to the Bravo contract. This indicates Bravo can script their shows any way they want to. I must admit, I never really thought reality shows were ever credible, taunting them as unscripted. Bravo is shady, in my opinion, to the fans, but I will still watch Southern Charm because the trio boys are so despicable. I feel Kit Kat also was the one that told us that Vanita's paycheck is $300,000 a year. Kit Kat, who are you? Well, like, do you work somewhere? Like, do you have more tea? I need all of it. And I hate the word tea. But I need all these details because it just sounds like you know something, and I want to know those things also.
Leva, she thought Craig and Paige were made for each other. I was bamboozled by Craig's bullshit. After they broke up, he did a week of I guess I shouldn't have led with that. I was bamboozled by Craig's bullshit. After they broke up, he did a week of press while they were split and hadn't announced it yet. He said on Watch What Happens Live and Page 6 that he was ready to move to New York. I totally fell for it and thus was extra shocked by the split. So I guess some people just didn't see it.
But hold on. This is why I am perpetually confused, okay, with the Craig Paige situation. Because Paige seems to be very clear with, I called him right after Thanksgiving. This is what happened, can kind of detail it out in whether it's true or not. This is her version of it. Then when Craig was just on Watch What Happens Live and they were flashing back to when he was on around like the holiday time. And Craig was saying, where's Paige tonight? Like, Andy's asking, do you have any plans to propose to all this stuff? And he's like, she just finished a 35 city tour, 60 shows. She's in bed with her cat tonight, blah, blah, blah. But they were already broken up there. And when Andy kind of said, can you explain that? Because we now know in hindsight, y'all weren't even, I keep saying y'all now because we're in Southern Charm, because you guys weren't even together at this point. And he said, when she broke up with me, like it was definitive for her, but it wasn't for me. And that's just one. And again, I love Craig, but that is one example that I keep seeing in all of these other areas, which is not to bring it up again. I'm just saying like, with the
are we going back to the bitch thing again? Courtney, you win. He didn't call her bitch. JT would never do that. He is devout.
Okay, hold on.
Would never say something like that. I take it all back.
I'm not.
Courtney believes that JT would never say it, and he wouldn't. I can't imagine it either.
I just
imagine JT saying the word.
I just said in this one instance
I know,
at the
exactly.
golf place.
One instance.
But hold on. Okay, so forget that.
No, I truly, I don't want to talk about it anymore. I don't care.
No, hold on.
You totally are right. He never would say that in
I don't even give a shit about that. Like, let's just use when he said that Austin showed up and he was hungover and he was on Xanax, and Austin was like, I wasn't on Xanax. I'm just saying, there's always these little things. So
that's what I'm saying.
Craig.
You're totally right. I know.
With Craig, there always seems to be like a little thing that Craig has to explain. And I'm wondering, is there not with JT, I'm saying with him and Paige. I'm saying with Paige, it seems very like, here's the bullet points of what happened. And Craig, he's always having to explain a little bit. Is that where we don't know what's going on with them?
Yes.
You hate me now.
No, I just think this guy's no better than anyone. So like, we're all arguing about this one word, and it just seems like
I'm
it's
talking
a
about it
word.
from Mike's comment about how this woman said she was bamboozled by Craig, and I'm saying
yes, Craig has that about him. That does not mean that JT still does not use the word bitch.
Okay, hold on. Just for 1 second. Forget I
take the bitch out of it.
Take the bitch out of it. I was just trying to collate
Craig has an
of
issue
Craig
with not living in reality. It might be a survival thing. It might be a eyeing on the prize, in it to win it. It's so not a black and white situation with him. It is a colorful picture of everything that we've watched over time. Like, I don't know how he gets out of this. I don't know how he gets out.
That's the thing where I'm unable to connect what happened with him and Paige. That's what I'm trying to boil the point down to.
But just because we don't know what happened with them, Paige has not really told us what happened with them. She's keeping everything. Like, we wish that Paige would just come out and be like, this is exactly what happened. For the last 6 months, I kind of haven't been feeling it anymore. And it's because I feel like he doesn't really listen to me. And I've been telling him X, Y, and Z, and he's doing A, B, and C. And it's like, I've told you, it's X, Y, and Z. I've told Mike, I like a wide angle, I like a wide shot. And it's pushed in every time. And then I have to go, I don't know what to say anymore. But if this is going on for
can't let the wide shot go, Mike.
Well, when you tell someone 18 times a week,
you just want a wide shot.
Just want a wider shot. Anyhow.
There's so many people out there being like, why would you want that? But when you're done with this, I'm going to get back to the B word for a second.
Oh, I'm out.
I think it's Gloria Garibay.
Can we all agree that nobody fucking knows?
100%.
No. Just listen. Gloria Garibay. Last week, we didn't know what NTBB stood for. It stands for not to be a bitch.
What did I think it was? Not to bust balls.
Yeah, which is also pretty funny. But she clarified, not to be a bitch. Thanks, Gloria.
That had nothing to do with JT.
Nobody was saying the B word.
I didn't say it did. I just said I was going to bring up the B word again. But also, Sarah, to talk about what you guys were just talking about, Sarah McBride, she had made a comment a while back about that she had an experience that she was with someone that she helped get sober. And that by the time it was over, she was just like, oh, thanks, but no frickin' thanks. And she felt that way before things had ended. So that by the time it ended, she was already ready to party in a sense, like, so. And then I don't know if I said it, but there was another thing about the Craig or Paige and Joe, whatever guy, that she had said when everybody's like, oh, I don't know, she cheated. I don't know that. She was like, well, there was a month where we weren't together. But I couldn't say anything. So like, if there's the Super Bowl's obviously February or some shit like that. So like, that was clearly months after they broke up. But if they're DMing in December, they broke up. They were already broken up. Just nobody knew it.
Yeah. And we were saying that earlier. Like, if she broke up with him at noon on the day after Thanksgiving and at 12:01 got together with this other guy, she didn't. Is it the best look? Is it interesting? Does it pose a lot of questions? Yes, but if that is genuinely what happened, I can't say that that's cheating. It's like, when people say, well, you're still married. And it's like, I'm
God,
separated.
That is the dumbest
like,
one ever. When they're separated, it's like, okay.
Bethany used to always get that on Roni. And she's like, because I have the world's longest divorce. I'm in the
it's
midst
such a
of a
desperate
10-year
attempt
divorce
to
on a
criticize
2-year
someone.
marriage.
Yeah, it's so desperate to criticize someone for that.
How does that happen?
Oh my God, her divorce story is insane. But essentially, she was married for 2 years, and the divorce took 10 years to get completed, and that didn't even. I don't think that also encapsulated the custody stuff.
That's ridiculous.
Crazy.
The thing about Paige that I think that she could have wanted to do this for a long time. And we talked a little bit about this already, but everything that there's that clip that we haven't seen yet because it's just been in Scenes from the Next, which I don't even know which one it is, but where she says, I just feel like I'm going to break up with Craig and then I'm going to have nothing. And I always thought, like I said, that was like, what are you talking about? You're two separate, and like you have nothing to do with that. Like people love, like you're a whole person on your own. She had every right and reason to be afraid of what was going to happen because it all literally did happen. Like
the backlash.
Oh, it happened. Yeah. Everyone, not everyone, but a large chunk of people just immediately assumed all the worst of her and that he was just this like sitting duck, like baby kitten and he's my baby kitten. So I get it. But I don't know what she could have done right aside from plant stories that he was cheating on her before, like because the playing field was never going to be even. Like she started off down here and she's having to play catch up. And so she's not really saying anything, probably because she doesn't know what to say that's going to like one misstep and she's going to get assassinated for it, Yeah. So it just, and I said this in last week's, but I think I ended up cutting because it was in a weird spot where I cut a bunch of other stuff. But like, Bravo has taught, Bravo is an odd place to it's a network that is clearly has majority women audience, but a lot of women will go after women, and it's a bummer to witness it. And you'd think that Bravo would be a safer space, but it is the one network that continues to remind me every day of how far we still have to go.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah,
totally.
We're gonna end on this one.
Oh yeah.
Just occurred to me. I'm not saying any of this is true. Just an occurrence that happened in the old brain while I'm sitting here looking down, looking uninterested and picking my nose. It's weird that the first girl to accept West was Paige. And everyone's mad at West because he used Sierra. And the people who are mad at Paige might be a little mad that she used Craig. So is it weird that like if that's true, like if West used Sierra to do this thing he's wanted to do since he was a little girl, well, Paige maybe did the same thing because this is what she's been working towards since she was a little girl. And if what we talked about last time is true, that like this was part of the master plan.
I think now I'm.
She used Craig to build up her reality star career. She's the only one that's not mad at West anymore for using her friend to boost his reality star career. Like and subscribe, Joanne.
I'm not even going to start to dissect what you just said.
You know what we can do? We can cut it here and we'll do to be continued.
Oh,
like
yeah,
they do on the reality show. We always laugh on the reality shows when they're like, to be continued. Well, yeah, no shit. This is only episode 2. Yeah. There's 15 more to be continued, asshole.
Yeah.
We don't need it.
And then there's another season.
Yeah.
I will do my best to gather Southern Charm news as it, like if I can compile it, and like it will always we'll add a Southern Charm episode in of like as long as we can throughout the hiatus.
Yeah. We'll miss you, Southern Charm.
Yeah.
And do better next season for us, please. We're saying that from love.
Yeah.
We spy because we care.
Just take a swing at like a couple new people and let's just follow them around and see if they're interesting. Like, let's just, but like,
get
you
some
can't
main
half-ass it. You
characters.
can't pick someone up and drop them in and then we don't see them for 4 episodes. Like, in it to win it. Like, I think that's the MO you have to go into with next season. Like, we're going to be here. We just watch the shittiest season you've had.
Yeah.
So if you've got a couple miscasts, clearly we're going to watch it. So
it's almost like, you know how when people are dating, they might be dating someone who kind of sucks, but like they're scratching enough of the itch that they'll stay with them because they don't want to be alone. I feel like that's what they're doing right now with the cast. They're like, well, JT's, at least he's bringing something. And it's like, right, but it's not it.
no,
Vanita
God,
ain't
no.
it. JT
No.
ain't it. Leva, she's obviously already gone. She's just not right for this show.
No.
Thank you and good day.
Yeah.
Like and subscribe.
Good night and good luck. Tell a friend. Love you. Bye.
Love you. Bye.
Bye, Christy.
Poof, get over here and kiss me.
Whoa.
You little kitty. Oh my God, it's 7. This is so great. I go home, scrub my face.